Hey everybody, welcome back to the Beardy and the Baldy channel. It's just the Beardy here again, and I've got a new movie review for you. It came out last week, I think. Arrival from director Denis Villeneuve, if I said that right. Um, he's directed Sicario, Prisoners, Enemy, which I've gotten to see all of those movies. They are all incredible and fantastic and really deep, not necessarily psychological thrillers. Well, Enemy definitely is. Prisoners is it's just a really intense family drama about a missing child, and what lengths a father will go to find their child, as portrayed by Hugh Jackman. And Sicario was a crazy intense, um, kind of questioning morality, doing what is right to stop the wrong. Is it okay to do more wrong? With not Amy Adams, Emily Blunt as a federal agent investigating crimes into Mexico and everything. And they're all really intense, really good movies. Um, and for me, they all left me a little bit uh, not cold, but like emotionally bankrupt. For lack of a better word, after watching them, like it just felt so empty, and they were very kind of down, very again, all incredibly acted, amazing directing, just great movies all around. But Arrival does something I think a little different. It now there may be spoilers in this. I apologize. I'm going to try to not spoil anything. And if I think I'm going to go there, I will let you know. But the Arrival is a modern sci-fi event where these ships, I think they called them chips, or I think they called them chips, or uh, something like that. But they're these giant black, almost kind of like river pebble tear-shaped ships arrive at, I believe it was 12 places around the Earth. And it starts off like most of your sci-fi alien. The government's like getting people to pull in and to come in and help. And it's really interesting because you see kind of a different take. It's very much it's through a military base that we're experiencing the events of this movie, at the U.S. site. I believe it was Montana. And they bring in Amy Adams' character, who is a linguist, and Jeremy Renner, who is a mathematician and a scientist. And they pull them in to help out, and they do it in a way that feels a lot more genuine and not so action movie sci-fi alien invasion. I think of The Day the Earth Stood Still, and the way they get Jennifer Connelly and some of those other characters in, and it's very high impact action excitement. Or movies like um, Independence Day and things like that, where it's all about the action. Whereas Arrival feels to me that it's definitely more about the emotion and the journey you go on with the characters in this movie. And it does make me think of Contact, from the '90s with Jodie Foster and Matthew McConaughey. But to me, it is a far superior movie than that in what it was trying to do. And that's not to bash Contact. I know that's a pretty popular movie out there, but that movie kind of bored me to tears. Um, I tried watching it several times since I saw it in the theater, and I was like, when I saw that movie back in the '90s, I was all into really deep, bigger, more serious movies. I didn't like as much comedy and lighthearted stuff as I do now, but it just didn't quite register to me on some levels for some reason. But Arrival really did, because they set up everything with Amy Adams having. You see this whole sequence of her in the opening scenes of her um, having a daughter, and this daughter growing up, and it's a very kind of condensed, kind of forward to the movie almost. or prologue of this daughter who then gets sick and dies as a teenager, or I believe it's a teenager. And the weight that it has on Amy Adams' character, and then it cuts to, she's voiceovering it, and she's talking about some things that I don't want to say what she was talking about because that might be some spoiler stuff. But she's dealing with this, and then it cuts to her. She had a husband, now she's alone, and she's a teacher or a professor at a college teaching linguistics, and then this event happens, and someone comes to see Forrest Whitaker's character comes to see her, and she's like, um, I don't think I can't remember, she doesn't refuse, but she doesn't give them the answer he wants. So, oh no, she's like, well, in order to see this, I need to be there, and he thinks she's just trying to, be a glory hog and go and get attention, which she's clearly not interested in that. And they're going to go see someone else, and she's like, all right, ask this person you're going to go, this specific question and see what he says. And she goes home and she's talking to her mom, and then the helicopters come and pick her up, and apparently the guy didn't answer the question correctly. So anyway, this segues to her meeting Jeremy Renner in the helicopter as they fly to the base site in Montana, and you see the ship, and they go in. I mean, they don't really play around too long. Once they get there, they go right in, and from you've seen from the trailers, they're in this kind of cube-shaped room, and there's this big screen, and there's eventually the aliens come up. I can't remember, do they call them heptapods? I think it was heptapods or septapods. I can't remember which one now. I don't remember what the right term was. But it's unnerving, but it's beautiful. It's almost like watching someone encountering whales for the first time. If whales had limbs and could directly communicate with us in a way we thought we could decipher. It was really fascinating. And just, there's a lot of emotion. And I gotta say this, if you can get to a theater and see this on as big a screen as you possibly can, because there was something about the effect. I know I said this about Inception in my top 13 countdown, but some movies you just have to experience on a big screen to get, I think, like the full, like there's this almost oppressive, immersive feeling you get seeing this movie in a big theater with the sound, and it was really intense. And the score, like the sound production on this movie is fantastic. The sound effects from as they're going into their ship and everything, and the sounds that the septapods, I'm just going to go with that, septapods make, and the music is very, at times almost natural and ethereal to almost like very foreign and very disjointing, and it's fantastic. Great performances from everybody. Normally, I enjoy Amy Adams' performances more when she's doing kind of the comedy stuff, like in the Muppets or those sorts of things. A lot of her really intense dramas have not, and maybe it's just the stories have not been that interesting to me. But she delivers a really good performance as this, you know, mother linguistic and everything, and just the way the movie builds and how they're trying to communicate. And so we've got these 12 ships all around the Earth, and there's different scientists. There's different, all the different countries where these ships have landed have different teams. So they're all networked together, and they've got this big data bank of monitors, and they're sharing information. And then things start to happen, and slowly people start to pull out. They don't want to share communication until there's this complete shutdown of communication between the humans studying these ships. And the stakes start to get really desperate, they get really high, and it's just really, I think how they resolve it and work to the resolution, I think is beautiful and amazing. And it's just it's more than just an alien story. It's a story about, as much as it's an alien story, it's a story about us. And seeing it the week after the election, or the week of the election, it felt very timely in its, I don't even know if it was necessarily like a message, because it didn't feel preachy or like they were really pushing something, but there is this very strong message about unity and coming together, and I really appreciated that, the way they did it. Again, I don't want to spoil everything, so I think I've gotten through most of this without giving any real spoilers, and I'm definitely not going to spoil how the final act plays out and all that. But it's an incredible movie. Again, from the directing, the storytelling, the acting, the music, the sound, the visuals, everything about this movie just really, and it just really got to me. Like I believe I was pretty misty eyed by the end of the movie. I don't know if I actually, excuse me, I got some hiccup things going on. Um, I don't know if I shed any actual tears, but I was pretty close. Like it was pretty dense, heavy material to go through, I think, and it just really spoke to me on a lot of levels. So that is my pretty quick review, I think, of Arrival, starring Amy Adams, Jeremy Renner, Forrest Whitaker, and some other faces you'll recognize. Uh, an interesting side note: I didn't do my Doctor Strange review yet because I don't really know if I need to do a review on that. I don't think I'm going to say anything really different at this point. But the actor who plays the Doctor, he kind of has a antagonistic relationship at the beginning of the movie, and later helps in Doctor Strange. He actually is one of the military advisors or civilian advisors to the military in this movie as well. So it was kind of neat seeing him, you know, two movies back to back. So playing very different characters. So there it is. So there's the Arrival. Hopefully, I'll be getting out to see Fantastic Beasts tonight or tomorrow, Saturday or Sunday or Monday, and I'll get back to you with that. If not, I'll be back Wednesday with Beardy's books for the review of my comic haul this week, and we'll see. I know it's going to be coming up on Thanksgiving, so happy Thanksgiving to everybody in advance, early, and catch you next time. Peace.